my happiness in the expectation realm in my previous life, in the
Mm-hmm.
expectation realm was decided by things, places, people. My happiness was depending on somebody offering me a job or making me happy, or I had to have kids. Or what if you have a family, you're going to be happy? Or what if you find the perfect husband, you're going to be happy? Or what if you have this two,
Mm.
3 bedroom house, you're going to be happy? And all that happiness can be taken away from you immediately,
Right.
which we don't realize either, because people, places, and events, they fall away.
Sacred trust, holistic perspectives, and dynamic growth. Join us on a journey to cultivate the inner peace you need to maximize your business success and humanistic excellence.
And let's say, so Elian, welcome to the show. I am so delighted you're here today.
Thank you, Kat. Thank you. Namaste. Thank you for having me today. I am super excited. Yes, super excited to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, me too. I'm really honored that you're taking the time. I know you're really busy, but
Nope.
why don't we start off then? Because some of our viewers are new to this whole this movement and us. Tell them a little bit about yourself and why you're so passionate about lifestyle.
Well, Elian Haan, I guess I'm passionate about lifestyle because I had to make it easier on myself over the years and over life, right?
Yeah.
So I just did, some digging, and I always liked that. I was always kind of like the self-help book person that wanted to know more.
Mhm.
It certainly didn't come easy. So the last 10, 15 years, I really went to a whole different mindset. And that's why I always talk about expectation versus transformation,
Mhm.
because it was just, it was just a different journey that happened
Mm.
over
Thank you.
time.
Yeah, when lifestyle is so important, and that when you suggested this show title and expectation was in it, I was like, ooh, I cringed, not because of you, because I remember like growing up with all these expectations, and they weren't really mine for me, and it took me years to like unravel and figure out what was important to me and what was someone else's idea or someone else's energy, and really find my own. So I appreciate that about you, um, and that you this journey that you're on and supporting people. One of the things I wanted to ask you about was defining life moments, and you mentioned that in a way. Do you have any particular moment in time or in your life that really shifted for you or shifted your like desire to dive deeper into this?
Absolutely, yes. I think it was about 15, 20 years ago as well. And I was going through just a lot of personal digging, and I was not happy, and I had a lot of anger issues, and um,
Mm.
you know, drinking a lot of wine that comes with it, and that was very unhealthy. And at the same time, I was constantly trying to find out what that purpose was, where I needed to be. And
Mm.
I kind of did it always, but I say it was a very exterior motivation, just because I loved doing wellness and I loved doing fitness. I was trying to get people in shape, and it was always about, just not being able to move the next day, and being hurt everywhere, and just having so much muscle pain, and always about all those six packs and abs and all good looking. And not that I don't love that, but I was just searching for kind of a deeper meaning. I
Mhm.
had a pastor. I had a pastor that at some point has said, I just don't know where I need to be. I mean, I've tried so many things and I just can't find it. And I felt that I was always looking for the new job, and where should I be?
Mhm.
And I'm not really an office desk person, but what can I do? And I didn't really appreciate my own work. I didn't respect
Mm.
what I was doing. And he said, well, it's always right in front of you. You just don't want to see it. You just don't
Wow.
see it. Your purpose is right in front of you. You've been doing it. You just don't see it. You don't
Mhm.
really value your own work. It's like, selling your yoga class for $5 while it should be appreciated at $20 at that point. So, I did a lot more digging, and at some years later, went through a divorce and just really
Mhm.
started becoming in my own easy self after that.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that what you just ended with, your own easier self after that. Cause like when we step into that ease, things seem to flow and unwind, just move. And at least for me and some of the people I've worked with, part of the transformation process of making it easier instead of forcing and trying so hard. And what you're, what you shared about what your pastor said to you, is like you were seeking, and you were seeking on the outside, it sounded like so many of us do, right? Yeah. Just all the outside. And that to me kind of goes hand in hand with those expectations. Like we're seeking, we want to know what other people want from us. And that you shifted when you got to that point where you kind of knew more about what you wanted inside for you. How did the transformation continue to unfold?
There was different things going on. So I really was trying to live up to the expectations of others. So that's where it starts, right? It starts. Now I say that many times on my show, and all the time I use it in my speaking engagements. So it's like you do what your parents want, and then and of course there's just a lot of emotional blackmail,
yeah,
attached to that, like I work so hard to get you through college, or I do everything for you, and so I really want you to be a good student, that kind of thing. And then that's normal. I do it myself, and I did it myself, and so but that awareness makes it a little bit better, right? You can kind of catch yourself doing it. But there's so much of that. And then you come into your friends, and there was just I studied in Amsterdam, lived there till I was mid-30s, and my friends went to university, so I go to university, and I don't even like that kind of studying. I can study really well, and I love to study, and I'm a serial certification taker. But at that point, it was just feeling like the pressure was always there to be, to on and on and on and on. And then you get that's that 3-bedroom house and the kids and the husband, and that whole idea of the perfect family and the perfect, granite countertop and all that. So we're just running. And, I came to that realization that when he said that I needed to find just a deeper meaning. I went truly into Deepak. I went truly into the law of attraction. I went truly into positive thinking. Those were some really big things for me. And of course, I went more into yoga and more in Tai Chi, and using that in my classes and using that to heal people. And then and just now years ago, it's now been 7+ years, I started getting, a position as a wellness counselor at a addiction facility, drugs, alcohol, opioids. And I started working with patients with deep, deep, deep trauma. And then, it's so wonderful when you work with people, because you learn so much along the way, also about yourself, And like I said, easy, easy, easy. It comes easier once you find that place of transformation. And that for me is not living up to the expectations of others, but to find that happiness, that peacefulness inside, right?
Right. I've had to do a similar thing, and, and so many of us do, but letting go of those expectations and finding that happier place inside. And you talked about the transformation. I was like having flashes of mine, and working with people with trauma. Do you find like a lot of people that you've worked with, like in that environment, but also in other environments, have a lot of people, do you think, gone through trauma and they aren't able to talk about it or express it, or don't even know that perhaps they have, and that's what's blocking or hindering? Yeah,
absolutely. I think that all of us have it at our own level. Sometimes it's devastating what I see, and what starts at a really young age, that you can't even describe, all the way up to events in our life that have been events that sometimes made a huge impact on us, but we were either not able. I had years that I didn't talk, that we're not able to talk about it, or we're not willing to talk about it. We can't. We come from a background that we all don't talk about it, that kind of thing. I mean, years ago, and go 50 years ago, it was still more common just to drink your problems away, instead of thinking that you could actually talk and discuss and find help, right? So
right.
it's just not a do thing. When I grew up, you didn't go to, find help. And I realized that there were so many things that I just kind of bobbled over, even if they were very impactful for me and they were very big for me. I just kind of wobbled over it and didn't do anything with it. And all that stuff comes back anyway, because as a somatic healer, what I see a lot is that, what we hold here will always manifest in your body, always. Right. So, you know, you feel pain or you have pain or or you're living your life like this or your posture is bad and your shoulders are up and that anxiety just builds up and at some point has to
Mm,
come out. And I see that in my work with everybody has that deep stuck thing
mhm.
there that they just can't get out. Yeah.
Right. And there's so many ways to get that stuckness out. And I think that's part of the message is for me is letting people know that they can release that there are ways and there are options. And there are so many different ways and not everything works for the same person. We can try that. But one of the things I like about you is that you use the movement and the mindfulness. And for me, I have this thing called GEMS, you know, like they're really basics of shifting our energy. And the M stands for movement. And that's why I was like, oh, I would love Ileana to talk about movement and how
I
can
love
that movement, so yeah, if someone is even unaware of the trauma, how can moving really help and support them? Do you want to?
I always thought that movement in the first place is something I was always in the movement business.
Mhm.
So even as a fitness program designer and going all over the country and presenting fitness programs, it was always for me, I always said, people, it's a way of healing and it's your number one or number two thing to go to beside, you know, going outside, being creative, having hobbies, walking
Mhm.
it off. The first
Mm,
thing that the doctor would say, go walk it off, right? Just get
right.
out there and move. And it's been so old. And so many people, I think, are so as a, I would say as a population right now, as a country, as
Mhm.
we all in it, we sit more and
Right.
we are less moving and we're less able, you know, and there's COVID and all that. So for that reason, I think that we just kind of got stuck and don't see the importance of movement anymore. So
Mhm.
how when I just got hired at a job, it was for a yoga instructor, yoga counselor program.
Mhm.
But I brought pain management, anxiety intervention, movement through chi and yoga in a very easy, soft way to start feeling your body and get that mind, body, spirit connection in there. And I start working with movement and always say, and this is always funny because I say and I tell my patients that get your sexy back on because if you feel better, you know, if you feel better, then you're more emotionally
Right.
and mentally you're stronger if you feel better and you look in the mirror in
Mhm.
the morning and you go like, oh, right. So,
Right.
you know, you just put your sexy back on and you put it, you know, whatever that means for somebody, and
Right.
they get it. My
Mhm.
patients get it and my clients get it. Also in my life coaching practice, I used it a lot. Just do something that makes you feel sexy. Put your better shirt on, or your bright shirt on. Put your crazy hat and your crazy stuff on, and then you
Mm.
go outside. Even if you feel really bad, and you go outside, and somebody will tell you, "Oh, you look so cute today," and that
Mm.
makes you just immediately feeling a bit stronger, even if you have a really bad day.
Mm, it does. I know. Like I always feel a little better and more vibrant when I wear bright colors, you know, because I used
Yes.
to wear a lot of dark colors. And I still do sometimes, but it does without even thinking about it. Sometimes that color, I love the reference to the crazy hat. But you know, and the whole movement, because like emotion or like motion shifts emotions, right? And some of us actually know this without having to be told. So sometimes the question I get or like to ask people like yourself is like, so many people do kind of innately know that if they move their body, if they wore the color, if they did these simple things, it could shift their emotional state. Why don't we do it more? Why do we stay so sedentary? What are your thoughts on that?
Now you're bringing a topic up that I have to honestly answer in a really honest way
Honesty
because
is good.
we are lazy. We
Okay.
are lazy. And I say that because there's so many things that has to do with opioid addiction. It has to do with the
Mm,
use of call the doctor immediately, get a pill for it, Google it, keep sitting down and Google it. But
mhm,
and I don't want to sound mean, but I think overall we are a little less um, getting into it, taking action. We're just a little
mhm.
less, a little more lazy. And that's not more lazy, is that even English? We're lazier.
It
And so
works.
that is not, it's not an insult, but it's just kind of like a movement that you find
Yeah.
everywhere. We have so much instant gratification already in our
Mhm.
life coming to us that we don't realize that sometimes we just have to go back to the dirt and climb our way out of it and just do the work for it.
Right. No, I appreciate that. And I was thinking of this question as you spoke, and I hope it's okay to ask, but I do agree there's some laziness about it. And I've been in the lazy component myself. Like it is easier to just sit on the couch sometimes, you know, and the hardest part is just taking the first step. Like once we're up and doing it in the momentum, it's easier. But do you think, like, as far as expectation goes, like culturally, this expectation to be complacent and be lazy is like this underwritten expectation? Because then we're more easily controlled and we are not, you know, doing these things to change the world and shake things up.
I do believe so, because I think you're right. But if I understand right, and where this is coming from, and how we are kind of moved by
Mhm.
media and by internet and so forth, how we're kind of moved is that we're constantly looking at that and thinking that we still have to live up to all those criteria that
Mm.
are posted and that are out there. And I think that creates a huge self-awareness to where overall, if you're not in a place of transformation,
Mhm.
then you're constantly looking around for approval. And I think that has a lot to do with it.
Mm.
Am I getting you right? Am I going where you're
I think,
going?
yeah, that's part of it. And part of it in any of your shots, it's not right or wrong, and they're just your thoughts. And I was just curious because that question was bubbling up. But I like what you said, though. This, if we're not focused on the expectations of others, then we are in this transformative state. And so really it comes down to a choice then, right? We can
Yes.
choose to just remain stuck or on the couch or hiding or, you know, whatever it is, because it feels safer, right?
Yeah.
Because transformation is not necessarily easy and it's not always smooth, right?
And we stay in our comfort zone, right? And that is the easy thing too. So not making those choices, even when we know that we have to. And I realized that over my 20 years, and I'm nowhere near perfectly imperfect. I'm not even there and still learning, but it's one of those things that if you think about how I found it, and if I look back, is that I really started to learn through help of others and mentors and you know,
Mhm.
learning that my happiness in the expectation realm in my previous life, in the
Mhm.
expectation realm, was decided by things, places, people. My happiness was depending on somebody offering me a job or making me happy, or I had to have kids. So what if you have a family, you're going to be happy? Or what if you find the perfect husband, you're going to be happy? Or what if you have this two,
Mm.
3 bedroom house, you're going to be happy? And all that happiness can be taken away from you immediately,
Right.
which we don't realize either, because people, places, and events, they fall away. And
Mhm.
so I didn't look inside to just be happy with nothing and find that peace, which is more of a peaceful, leave the ego out, come back to self, you
Mm.
know, realization, and just be happy without anything and anybody, and
Mm.
find that purpose of what makes you happy and what gives you that feeling in the morning, that zest
Mm.
for life, getting up with that huge energy that you just want to place. Does that
Right.
make sense?
No,
Yeah.
it does
It's
make
a
sense. And
great
it's
feeling.
so relatable on so many levels. You know, because I lived like a good decade of feeling very unhappy and not happy and looking on the outside. And, you know, I think that's why, you know, I really wanted to have you here to talk about some of these things. And it's it's helpful, I think, for other people when they hear things like this to know that people like you and I or other teachers or healers, we haven't always had it figured out. We're still like fumbling through sometimes, but we've chosen to get off the couch and to experiment and to move and play and get to that point of finding that internal happiness and letting go of the expectations. And I'm still letting go of a couple of them, but it is really a work in process and a journey. And
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I tell my patients that a lot, of my clients, that just what you previously said, it is just one step at a time, but you have to start, right? Going with
Mhm.
Nike, just do it. You have to start, like, exercise Monday morning, and next Monday, didn't do it. Now I'm gonna beat myself up because I didn't do it. You know, I
Mm.
wasn't there. And now you create that negative thinking again. So now we're going to spiral again, because I can never do anything right, because I was gonna do it and I didn't. So everything is just one little step at a time. But it is not so bad to not do it, but it's the realization
Okay.
of the fact that you can change it around. So if I'm
Mm.
thinking something negative, but stepping on it in the moment, and that's just training. Just like you said,
Okay.
it's just a learning process. It's just training. Finding the fact that I had that thought, then doing the exercise of changing it around immediately, creating more awareness of what I'm doing. I am in that negative thinking realm, or I am on a low esteem, plan here. It's not good for me. Finding that awareness and then creating a new one, a new realm for yourself. That is very important.
I agree, it is important. Do you think it's helpful for people to hire a coach or have a mentor or somebody to help them shift out of that negative thinking? Can we do it by ourselves? Does it take longer? What are your thoughts on that?
Everybody needs a coach. Everybody needs a coach.
Okay.
Everybody needs a coach. It's just like I did not talk to people for so long in my life, and now, I'm just in that thought of why didn't I? And that's what my book is about. I wish I would have known, but I'm glad I didn't. But that is the self-reflection of there was so many things that were not taught. If I would have had help or asked, and we don't ask. But a coach is just, it's not, I'm not talking about, I'm not a therapist. I'm just a counselor, coach, and I move forward. So people, and any time that you're stuck, you're just feeling stuck and you're not having a plan. And if we're in that anxiety mode and we're stressed, then everybody just kind of needs to talk for a little bit. And that's what a coach is. Just, I always say, it's one of those people on your balcony, right? You only have to have people on your balcony because they're like praising you and happy for you and awesome and great. And all the people love you and say the right things. I don't need any people in my cellar,
No.
or that are negative.
Or in our head. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I find it's always helpful to have somebody in your court, or like, and I see a coach similar to you, like as a sounding board, maybe a little bit cheerleader, but also somebody who can see our blind spots when we can't see them and help call us out on our BS sometimes about, why we're doing or not doing something, and give us pause for reflection, or, offer that assistance. Have you worked with a lot of different coaches over the years for yourself, or do you have like one mentor / coach that you always go back to? How do you work?
One mentor / coach I always go back to, even if it's not a consistent relationship. And mentors in the sense of what I'm learning now through social media, webinars, seminars, constantly attending myself as well. A lot of people that I just find uplifting. And even if it's just uplifting for energy, or a lot of times if it's just hearing again what you need to hear, because we need that repetition to become more aware. I people say to me, yeah, but that's redundant. No, it's not. It's not redundant. You need to hear it over and over again to make it your own till you feel it. And then when you feel it, then you can heal and move on, right? Feel it and heal it.
Yeah. We got to feel it to heal it. And that's part of the transformation. And I think, when we're stuck in expectation and in that paradigm, we're not always, sometimes we do, allowing ourselves to feel as much, so it's this feeling state.
And it's, if we're stuck there, then it's also in that expectation realm again. We're just doing things to please others, right? We're just working. With your former life, you were just helping your kids and helping your husband and constantly working for others. And that's why I think it's so great in this, age that I am in, that it's just it's all about me.
That's good. I think sometimes we have to make it all about us, not like, that little toddler that's me, or maybe we do when because the pendulum swings different ways. So when we haven't, really focused on ourselves for a long time, there is that time to focus on ourselves a lot more. And then the pendulum kind of balances off, where we can focus on us, focus on others, show up in service, or whatever it is that we've come to desire for ourselves and how we want to be, not what's expected of us, right? Just that.
Absolutely. And for when it comes to mothers and wives, there's not a many that can balance that all perfectly, because it's just, it's ongoing. So this is a great time in our life. In my life, for instance, my son's in college. Now I'm by myself. I can just focus on what I really would love to do and where I need to put that purpose. So, yeah.
So what would you love to do? Are you already doing it, or is there something else out there? I mean, you don't have to share if it's not,
No, I'm doing it. I'm doing it. I'm teaching, through counseling, through yoga, through movement. And I am planning the next 5 years to do that and just bring that happy, joyful message right here. I love this. It's so much fun. And
Mm,
just, talking to everyone and just from here on, ultimately maybe a little bit less because I'm just super busy and a crazy workaholic, but maybe a little bit less and just go on retreats and
mm,
speaking, more speaking engagements. And I do have a lot, but more and
nice.
just retreats, and just taking time off to do weekends, sit on
Mhm.
the beach, do a
Good.
beach retreat, do a beach retreat. Yeah,
That's one of the things
absolutely.
that's on
Yeah,
my list to do.
absolutely. We'll
Uh,
find each other.
yeah, no, that would be awesome. We are getting, very close to the end. You did mention your book, and I didn't catch that in all the notes before. You do have a book?
I'm working on it. It'll be
Oh, you're
published
working.
next month.
Oh,
We're just
okay.
really close. Have a publisher, and
Oh, awesome.
it is a memoir / life coaching book. It will be
Hmm.
available on my website and through my website. I have several webinars and seminars going on, speaking things, and on my website you can just find videos and platforms as well. I work on platforms like Moxie and Burn Along with videos, movement, right? Yoga videos. So
Movement.
elianhaan.com.
ElianHaan.com is your website. Awesome. And do you have anything, a special offer or something you're offering for viewers, or they can just go to your website and learn all about you, or watch your show after this
On my
afternoon?
website, I have offers definitely for free seminars, PDFs, and I also would love to just see people signing up for a book signing and the first alert and things like that. Absolutely.
Oh,
Absolutely.
awesome.
More
Well,
to
that
come.
sounds cool. Well, that sounds really wonderful. And I had more questions for you, but we are kind of out of time on that. So I thank you so much for being here, Elian, and sharing some of your joy and your message with us today. I really appreciate you. And if people want to find you, they can go to your website, Elian Haan, or go to my blog. There's show notes, or you can just go to the Win-Win Women Global Movement and find Elian right there on our I want to network. Maybe that's not the right word, but you can find her. And if you are watching this live with us right now, we do invite you to join the after party. We'll have an informal conversation of 30 minutes unrecorded time with Elian, where you can ask her or I anything about this episode or whatever's on your heart. And if you're watching the replay and you like what was shared in this episode and want to have your own conversations with me, you can join my new community for free, where we have opportunities for group conversations to discuss the show or related topics at Kreatrix.club. It's KREATRIX.club to join the community. And if you're curious about my work, you can check out my website, katmoulton.com, and go to the Win-Win store. I have an introductory special coaching opportunity that will be available soon, only through this network, at a fabulous discount for Win-Win viewers. And I invite you to check out other members like Elian in the store or on the network. There are amazing shows and show hosts throughout the week on almost any topic that you're curious about, from divorce and grief to creativity and business, speaking, and so much more. And the Saturday lineup, if I can put another shameless plug, is awesome. You can start off with Janine's voice. The radiant Lisa Hannigan teaches us to engage and shine. There's myself. Elian is joy, because who doesn't want to have more joy in their life? And then the afternoon is filled with wisdom from Dr. Pamela and Dr. Valerie and Angelique, and so many more. So thank you all for being here and spending time with us today. And remember, Fiery Soul Sisters, this is not just a show. It is a movement to remind you that you are a powerful creatrix living in the matrix. The world needs women who are fully awake, dangerously alive, and unified in heart and purpose. So from my heart to yours, may the energy of love flow through and expand to create waves of pure positive impact. Humanity needs you to embody your own creatrix energy so you can unlearn all the programming, unlock your heart, and unleash your gifts. Thank you so much for your time, energy, and presence. Until next time, so much love.